Now you have to really watch this slide. That lady is swinging a mean hammer, and that's Judy Miller. Judy Yoder. I don't see Judy here today.
Oh, she's not here.
But her husband is back on the sound, and we were, JJ is helping cut. We're making this is when we did the sound studio, and there were 6 of us went that time. It was Jim and Judy and JJ, and then myself and Dale and Micaiah went on that trip. So
there's Kay and Judy putting glue on carpet that's going to be stuck to the wall to help absorb sound.
You can't really see him, but behind Judy's head is this guy named Jean Noel. He was our translator. And every day for lunch, I always will remember this. He used to come back with us for lunch, and he'd eat and talk, and he'd laugh. And then by the end of the week, he had a little pot belly because he ate so much food. He was a really nice guy.
This is kind of hard to understand. And
yeah, because he doesn't.
Right, because I was asked, the pastor there, how often do they eat? Do they get a full meal once a day? No. He says 1 or 2 meals a week is very typical for the people there. They do get some leftovers or little bits of stuff.
Or they eat
during
snacks
the day,
from trees.
But the food, and this John Noel Cage said it well. He would eat plates full of rice and whatever that was set before us. I mean, when we were long done eating, he was just
still eating.
It was available.
Well, and Dad, when we travel, when we go down, part of the cost of going down pays for the food for the people that are doing the work, but it also pays for the food for the people that are interpreting and the Haitians that are helping on the project. So that's one of the times that they do get consistent food. If they're helping with the project or interpreting with us, part of our costs of going down are to pay for them to eat as well with us. So, you know, it's just one way that we can.
And again, when we invited Jean Noel to eat with us, he was reluctant to, because when we come down, we were like special guests, and we would get the food, and then whatever was left over is what was given to them.
Yeah.
And so for us to invite him to join us for the meal was
pretty much unheard of.
Yeah, it was kind of a special thing for him to actually not be eating the leftovers. And so, you know, we tried to always pull people in and invite them to join us at the table. And Jean Noel, he was also, he never thought he would get married, but about was it a year ago he got married, and then just recently they had their first child. And so just real special to see him.
Grandpa likes that picture.
Pulling wires through the wall.
Grandpa was on the other side feeding wires. And
what?
And to add a little bit more to that glue thing, the glue was so strong, I think we were all high.
Yeah. The glue was hard to put on the carpet, too.
And then you had the ladies decided to have a glue fight. Oh. The glue was, yeah, it was a mess. But we all had fun.
And this is me instructing them how to use the sound studio, how to do recording. This is the room that they would do the recording, or they would have the computer and the recording equipment in this room, and then in the other room they would have the instruments playing.
I think that was the last day that we were there when we recorded the song.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was kind of hard being one of the youngest kids. We were the youngest people there, right? So we were usually the gophers. It was just kind of hard to, you know, figure out what we were going to do next, because we'd be just sitting around and asking, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And we had nothing to do.
And there's a good reason for it. The sound studio was on the 3rd floor. And if you ever go to Haiti, don't watch your step because the steps aren't even.
There's one step that's this.
You'll go from little to really high steps.
Oh, yeah.
And so
I think I tripped up the stairs a few times, yeah.
It's easy fall,
But by the end of the week, I was a pro at it.
And how about the coffee? Did you drink the coffee?
Oh, coffee.
Yes, but then
I
was also
Jonas,
getting used to the weather.
Schmucker was with our
I was also getting used to
second
the weather
group
because it didn't
that
rain.
went down, and he got up in the morning and he says, "Boy, where's that coffee? I gotta have it all day long. I just need my coffee." I says, "Jonas," I says, "I'm gonna tell you a little something about this coffee." I says, "I pretty near guarantee you won't need coffee all day long." I said, okay. He went downstairs. He was kind of reluctant. He poured a cup of coffee and he started. And he put his plastic spoon in, and the spoon floated up. Well, if you're not into science, the gravity, the density of your coffee was so thick that it would make the spoon float. And so I would typically drink maybe a third to half a cup and he had the full cup. And later on in the day, I said, "Oh, Jonas," I said, "how about your coffee break? Do you need your coffee break?" And he said, "Oh, no." He said, "That stuff is still working." So just a little bit of humor, but it was an experience that you just had to.
Jay, do you want to come up here? I'm kind of the only one up here.
Okay, that's pretty.
What do you remember? No, JJ, do you have something that you remember specifically? Come on up here so we can hear it.
Basically, what I remember specifically is every morning we had breakfast, and then we never went any time without breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Not one day we missed any time to eat. They always have us something to eat. And the pop was pretty good, too.
They always had cold drinks for us.
Yeah.
We asked for them.
Coca-Cola tastes really good on that.
Yeah, especially when it's cold, nice and cold. The bottles were like
They were the old-fashioned bottles.
that big.
Just to add a little bit more to that, my wife, when she went with us on our trip, she said, "I'm going to get me a cold soda," which was right outside the gate of the church where we were working at. And, everything's gated around there. It's all fenced in. And the interpreter looked at her and he says, "You can't go out there." My wife looked at him like, "Why?" He said, "We'll go get it for you." My wife looked at me and she's like, this look of just total, I don't know what to say, but she was like, "Why? I'm nobody." I said, "Around here, you don't do that." So they went out and they got her a pop, brought some sodas in, and my wife tried to pay him for going out to do it. He says, "No, thank you. We'll gladly do it for you," because, well, there was all kinds of people outside the church, just, I don't know why, but that's just one of the things that, even in the airport, we walked into the airport and people were just, they seen Americans and, we were rich people to them.
Does anybody? Okay, I'm positive that the people that went to Haiti with me and my dad and my grandpa went. Remember this one lady that was sitting out in the front of the church, and she had this large sore on her knee. And when we went home for the night, back to the guest house, and we prayed for the lady, and the next day she was gone.
Yeah, the story behind that is that I'm going to come up for that for a bit. It's going to take a little bit of time. When we went, there was this lady that was sitting outside the church, She had sores on her legs, open sores, just horrible shape. She was, yeah, she had flies all over her. Her eyes were bloodshot, and I mean, just looked really weird. And what we asked about her and asked what was going on with her, and they said she had been a business lady. I think it was a meat business.
Yeah.
She sold meat. She was like a butcher selling meat, and you know, you have that pouch thing in your front where you take the money, you put it in, and you take it out. Well, one day, she found that $20 was missing. Was it $20? I think. $20 was missing from her pouch. And so she went, and she was very upset by this. You know, $20 is a lot. That is, yeah, $800 to us. It's, families live on $20 a month. Okay. And so she was very upset about this. So she went to a voodoo priest. And she went to the voodoo priest and said, I want a curse placed on the person who took this money. And prayed for a curse upon that person who took the money. She went home and found it in her thing. And so the curse was upon her. And so she went back to the voodoo priest and asked for the curse to be lifted, and he says, sorry, I can't help you. And so she literally, that she was under a curse, and she was living her life out on the street, drugs, so on and so forth, and no one has been able to help her. And so that's why we were praying for her, was because of that. And we don't know why she left, but she had been hanging around there for quite a while. But then afterwards, she left. And so, and we never did find out what happened to her from that place. So, I mean, one of those things where I would say, if you can, keep her in your prayers as you think of her, that she would find Christ, that she would find release from her curse through Christ. If she's still alive, yeah. But I mean, if you want to see demonic possession, I mean, I can't describe her eyes to you. I mean, they were hollow. You know what I mean? A human hollowness. Just amazing.
Well, didn't the pastor say he expected her to be gone or had died by the next morning or something?
Right. Yeah, they don't know what happened to her.
Gone.
She did get up and walk away, though.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, was an answer to her, I'm not sure.
Right.
Didn't they say that she was there for like a long time though?
Yes.
Before we got there?
Right. Yes.
Maybe she was waiting for you guys to come.
It could be. And we tried to reach out to her, but we couldn't. We you know, when we tried to get to her, then she was gone. So anyway, that's that story.